music reaction time.
Oh yeah. Today, Lulu, it's going to be a throwback time. We're going to go back to when Mike Young was first on AGT, his very first audition.
What?
Yeah, because now that he's on AGT Champions, they brought him back. And at first, I totally forgot who he was. I thought, Mike Young, an Asian dude. I'm like, I don't remember an Asian dude getting that far on America's Got Talent. And then I remember, oh no, this is the Mike Young that you were talking about, what was on the streets at one point.
That's right.
And it had a really just a heart-wrenching story. So I want to go back and see this because I don't actually remember that particular instance. You know, I just want to see what it's about because clearly he's got talent for him to come back on Champions. It's always good to kind of go back and appreciate their first time getting that exposure. In particular for this guy who I just feels like deserves the world.
That's right.
You know,
oh my
just
gosh.
a real good
Look
guy.
at
I remember that.
That's so crowded in there.
I know. Remember when it used to look like this? They never do this anymore. They kind of focus on very specific talents. But back then, it just feels like it was a cattle call of talent. Just like everyone in the world who's got any sort of crazy talent, just come on out. And the show has, just in the last couple of years, really evolved. I would never want to compete on one of these shows. This just feels like a daunting process. Because I can feel like this must like take all day. You just sit there and wait all day for your chance to perform for what, 3 minutes? Yeah, I ain't got that kind of patience.
All right, let's watch this now.
All right, and away we go.
So what would $1 million mean to you?
Well, $1 million would mean that I ain't got to go on the subway no more.
He's got that kind of smile and personality. You could just tell it's so warm.
Contagious,
yeah. Just a good heart. That just seems like still a daunting life to have to be out there singing on the streets.
Oh my God. And in New York, it's
New York is tough.
Hello. What's your name?
Mike Young.
And how old are you?
I'm
Young.
50-something.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
I've been singing in the subway for roughly 30-some years.
37.
That's a good thing.
Oh my goodness.
I forgotten
That's a
how long
career.
was that.
To be in the
37.
Wow.
If you don't mind me asking this question, tell me what was the low point?
The low point is on a Monday or a Tuesday, you don't make that much. But people get paid on Thursday and Friday, and they make up for it.
Okay, it makes sense. Tell me why you decided to enter America's Got Talent.
Like I'm saying, he's just a good soul. You know what I'm saying? That kind of, it's infectious to want to see him and hear him.
Success is what you make it, right? But there's no better stage, there's no better place to be than right here. You know?
That's a nice thing to say. Okay, well, good luck.
He brought his guitarist?
Why does he sound so wise when he says words? He needs to be reading books. I think he actually would have a good voice for that kind of thing.
Whoa, my love, my darling, I hunger for
goosebumps.
your touch.
Oh my goodness, baby. I forgot how good he was. He's got
yes,
such soul in his voice.
Lonely time and time goes by so slowly and time.
I love the way he does the
Vibrato.
Yeah. Oh, so natural for him.
Can do so much. Are you still mine?
Woo!
I need your love.
That voice is so powerful, baby. So good, so good.
I need your love. God, speed your love.
Oh my God, you know what, baby?
What?
I feel like I heard him before.
What do you mean?
I'm telling you, I swear I heard him before.
Spit it! Yes!
Wow, that crowd
I
just
love
went.
how the crowd was
Boom!
like,
I've never seen them
speechless.
like rise to their feet so fast in my
the beginning,
life.
they're just all quiet, shocked by what they've just seen, and
Right to
they
their
need
feet.
to stand. Yes, yes.
Baby, I think I've heard
Wow.
him before in the subway.
How would you know? Do you have a video?
It's just such a
Maybe you
ordinary
did.
part of, yeah, because I
Maybe
used to
you
live in
did.
New York,
Uh-huh.
so it was for like 2-year period, and everyone takes a subway. There's a lot of subway performers. I remember actually 2 or 3 acts. I feel like I have heard of him because the way he sings is very unique. There's inflections in his tone that, yeah, you can't forget it, right?
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, his voice is so powerful. You know that he used to sing in a choir because when he sings, it's just like belt from the diaphragm, and it's so beautiful, beautiful.
This reminds me of another guy that I knew. He's not a street performer, but he was a street poet. And I got to know him really well when I was in New York. And every time I would see him, whether I was uptown or near school, because I was going to Columbia at the time, I would just run into him randomly. And he would just sit there and he would write poetry. And I always felt just compelled to just stop by and listen to him, give him a couple dollars. And I would buy his book because he doesn't want charity. He just wants you to buy his poetry. And he said, that's all I do. I just sell my poetry. And he would tell these stories that honestly felt very fantastical. Like it just didn't feel like it was possible. But he said he won a lot of awards for his poetry, that he went to Columbia at one point as well, like I did. And now this is all he does. He just writes. And
he's on the street?
He's on the street, yeah. But if you look at him, you're like, no way you could have gone through such an illustrious career. But at the same time, his stories were so detailed in a way that like, it makes you like, no, he lived some of this. Like he really believed he went through this. And then every time I would buy his stuff, he would handwrite stuff, right? It's not just he photocopied work and then he put it into a binder. I still have them. In fact, I will break it out and show you sometime. I kept them, and it's some of the most amazing poetry. Like, it really is the kind of words when you read them that makes you cry. It makes you feel emotion, yeah. And he would be there on the streets when it was the heat of the summer or in the dead of winter.
Why did he even go to Columbia and just end up being a poet?
I don't know. I never really asked because, well, I mean, he would tell stories of how he's worked for a period, he's done this, but, really there's no livelihood for someone who just wants to write poetry. Like, who pays for poetry? He said, this is the way for me to make enough to sell poetry. He lived in an apartment, I think just one room. So with rent control in New York, you can live very cheaply if you live there for a very, very long time. But he always felt like he was struggling. I mean, it looks like life had always been hard on him. But when you listen to his stories, you could just tell like he had lived an amazing life. And I've always wondered what happened to him. But man, just to this day, I had such strong memories of every time I ran into him. Like, I don't know why. I would always seem to run into him in the most random places.
Mm-hmm. And so remind him of...
It reminds me of these people that, this has brought back flashbacks of my time in New York, of these people that I had met that you just kind of forget about. You realize, no, they're a part of your life every single day. These amazing talents who... want to stay and live in New York, but it's honestly, it's a jungle, it's a concrete jungle, like Alicia Keys sings about. But yeah, Mike Young, man, amazing guy here. Be interesting to see how far he gets in this competition in the Champions, because there are some truly amazing talent. I think with Mike Young, I think he's got a voice that will blow you away. But I don't think he actually got all the way to the end or even the finals in the 2017 year. So I got to double check.
That's why I'm confused why he got into Champion.
I think the Champion series has shown that they don't look for people who either have won or in the finals, because even someone like Puddle's Pity Party, I think he only got to the semifinals, not even the quarterfinals, or like he didn't get very far. I think what AGT does now is try to find a mix of talent. right? So if they didn't have an opera singer, they find someone like Puddles in there. And if they don't have someone like, Mike Young, they make sure they have it in just to have diversity of talent rather than them being actually winners. It's an interesting strategy. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but that's just the way they've gone with it.
Right.